Okay, guys, welcome to another training video. I hope you're all good. This particular session is on what we call a salary snapshot. So this is all about money and how you manage your money as you run personal training business. It's one of those skills that just isn't taught on your qualification, and you kind of have to learn it through experience. And that's what Craig and I have done, my business partner that I run Velocity with. And in this session, I'm going to share with you this tool. This is a tool that we put together for our paying clients in our program, but we're giving it to you guys away for free. So if you want it, just comment the word money below on this video, and it's yours. We'll send it across to you. And in this video, I'm going to explain you how to use it, what it's for, and how you can get the most from it. Okay. If you're watching this live, I'd love for you to just comment the word live below, or if you're watching this back on replay, just comment the word replay. The reason why is it just keeps this video near the top of the feed so that other people can get the benefit from this too. So cool, without further ado, let's dive into the tool. And yeah, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. Cool, so this process, I want to explain how this worksheet works first of all. It's a Google Sheet if you're not familiar, so it's a spreadsheet that kind of a spreadsheet system like Excel, but from Google. And we've got 5 steps to this. As you can see along the bottom, 5 tabs. You've got a turnover tab, expenses, and allocate. And if we move along here, we've got distribute and then summary. And this is a 5-step process that will get you thinking really clearly about how you manage your money. And these are the steps that actually you need to go through to not only understand how to manage money and what to do with it, but it's actually, as you practice this each month, you run the books of your business. I'm not talking from an accountant's point of view, but it's just organizing your money. It's going to help you improve your financial IQ, which is a huge part of the skill set that you need to develop to run a successful business. So without further ado, let's go through this from start to finish, and then hopefully you can kind of use this as a training when you actually start to put this thing into practice. Guys, if you just joined, thanks for jumping in. Good to see you. If you want this worksheet that I'm about to go through, it's all about managing your money. Excuse me, it's about managing your money. Easy for me to say. Just comment the word money below and we'll send this to you. Okay, so in this example, I'm just going to pick some round numbers because it's easy to demonstrate the point. But in order to type a number into your turnover, which is the total amount of money that you've received from services delivered, you would need to obviously check if you're running by a spreadsheet or if you're using accounting software, you would say, cool, I received £4,000 of income this month. That was my revenue. Okay, and that's it. This client data dashboard, this is another tool that we give our paying clients, so I'm sure you'll have something different. So just ignore that bit for now. Now, once I've got my turnover, and that's the first bit of information. And by the way, I don't want to brush past this too quickly because knowing your turnover is actually less. It's less common than you might think. I don't know. You might be sitting there thinking, shit, I don't know actually how much I turned over last month, and it would be more common than you might think. And this is one of the first things that we've got to understand about managing your money is you've got to know your numbers. If you're running a business, we've got to be on top of that business, and we've got to be knowing what's happening. Basically, like you do with clients, if you track and measure someone's performance in anything, then we know whether or not it's doing the right thing, if it's heading in the right direction, and whether or not we need to do something about it. Okay, so yeah, we've got to know our numbers. So once we do, we can punch that number in. Okay, now we move on to expenses. So we categorize 2 types of expenses here. We've got regular expenses, you can see here, and then one-off expenses just for this month. So what this does is it tells you that you need to do this process every month, and the bottom section changes, whereas this one is pretty much going to stay pretty stable. Yes, you might add in more subscriptions over time, and you'll just chuck them in, and then obviously that would factor into your maths. But basically, yeah, that's kind of the structure of this. And the thing you'll also notice about this as we go through that the bits highlighted in orange are the boxes or the cells that you amend. All right, so orange, orange, and orange. You can see that's kind of the theme, nice and easy. So let's say you would actually write the description in column A here, like what the expense is. But then you would just type in here, you would say, maybe this is gym rent. Maybe you pay rent to a gym. All right. Maybe you pay a subscription to like some software. Like this might be, I mean, maybe it's a bit steep, but you might be paying subscription software to a programming app, for example. Maybe you're allocating some money towards petrol each month. So you get the idea. So you would just put the regular things down. And a one-off expense could be that you bought some new kit for your studio. So maybe you spent 250 quid. Let's just stick that one in there. So one-off, that's not a recurring thing. It was a one-off payment for something that you bought. Okay. So that's the one-off expenses. So now we know for that month, there were £900 of business expenses. All right. And to be clear, like expenses that you paid for, which were totally committed towards the delivery of the service or the improvement of the service that you deliver for your clients. I think that I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but I think what people can sometimes misunderstand about expenses is like, cool, I'm running a business. That means I can put stuff through as expenses. That's true, and that will mean you pay less tax, but it means you earn less money, right? If you put more stuff through the business, your income is actually less at the end of it. And that's really clear through this process as we go through it. So I hope that makes sense. But let's head back to the tool. So we've got £900 worth of expenses. Let's move on to step 3. This is where we need to appreciate that we have to pay tax, right? We're running a business in the UK, and that means we have to pay the government some tax for the privilege, okay? So however we think about that, it's a reality. Now, we've got 3,100 in here because that is basically our turnover, you can see in this box here, minus the expenses. 4,000 minus 900, right? 3,100. Now, this is the bit where you'd need to speak to your accountant, assuming you do have an accountant. If not, you should get one and line one up for when you first do your books. It's not worth like trying to do your books on your own. It's worth spending a few £100s on an accountant, just as a side note. So a tax allocation percentage is how much money, approximately, of the gross profit that you've now identified, should you set aside for tax later. And this depends on how much money you've earned in the previous tax period. It depends on how much you're going to earn, like your growth rate, and basically ask your accountant. But for this purpose, I'm going to stick in 25%. Because £4,000 means I'm turning over about 50 grand a year, which means that I'm just kind of fully into the major tax brackets, the first major tax bracket of 20%. And I'm not going to go into that in this video if you don't understand. But hey, we can do that another time maybe. Cool. So the next box, this again does the calculations for you, and it's going to say, okay, well, if my gross profit was 3,100 and I'm going to allocate 25%, that's 775. And what we're going to say, guys, is if you're not already doing this, this is about organizing your money. You should have a couple of savings accounts linked to your business account. You should have, obviously, an account where all your client monies go to. And then you have a savings account attached to that, which you can just easily transfer, ideally on online banking. And this is where you put money that you're setting aside for tax. And if you do that every month and you siphon away, when the tax bill comes, you're like, cool, I've got plenty of money in here because I've shifted it across. And usually we just be a little bit more pessimistic with the percentage, which means we put by a bit more than we'll need to, which means that maybe there's going to be a little bit of reserves in there that we can tap into later, which is a little Brucey bonus. So we put 775 over into a tax account because that's going to the government in a few months, which leaves us with this much money that we can allocate to our personal account. Okay. Now, following this process means you'll be on top of your money, right? This is so important. So many people just I didn't actually come back to this. So many people don't go through this and they don't transfer this final number 2325 to their personal account. They're just guessing, or they're chucking the whole amount in there and then worrying about tax later. Please don't do this. If we run a business, if we want to run a business that's successful, we're going to have to get in control of our money and organize it properly. Okay, so 2325. Let's move on to step 4, which is distribute. So distribute here is, okay, now let me move me for a second because I'm a little bit in the way here. So we now know that we've got net profit. Net profit is basically after you've allocated for tax, which we've done on the previous tab. We now know that we've got £2,325 that we can play with personally. And that's 100% of the money that I can play with. Now, this tool is really cool because we can decide how we allocate that money personally to the things that we might want to spend money on. So how much you want to keep for you to spend on whatever you want. What about personal bills? What about personal savings? And then pension. These are the things that we recommend everyone allocate some money to. So you could start wherever you like. There's a few different schools of thought with this, which I won't go into too much detail on. But let's say that let's set aside for our bills first, which maybe is something like 33%. So we know that £767 covers our rent at a flat we're renting or the money on my mortgage or whatever, and some bills. So maybe that's that. I want to set aside 10% into savings every month, 10% into my personal pension, and that's just going to be a kind of a rule that I follow. The more money I earn, the more money I'll set aside. Happy days. Now that means that if I come back up at the top, net profit remaining, I still have 47% of my income that I can play with to do something with. And that means I can either keep the whole 47% for me, and that can be spent as you like. All right, go on holiday, spend some money, take your friends out, take your family out, happy days. But you might decide to actually set up different things that you want to set aside money for. Like, I want to save for a car. I want to save for a holiday. I want to have a clothes fund, right? I want to give some money away to charity. So I want to always give away X% to charity. We've had people do that. And all sorts of things. This is where you can put your own stamp on the way you manage your money. But basically, you need to allocate 100% of that cash and do something with it. Whether that means put it away or invest it. It's cool. And so what happens is now we're actually being organized, we're being thoughtful, and we're actually planning a bit like an accountant in itself of our own money. We're deciding where it goes and we're being thoughtful of it rather than being spur of the moment, how I feel at the end of the month or beginning of the month based on how the month went. We can actually be much more planned. Okay. So final tab is a very simple summary. So we come over here, let's just move me back over. And we've now got a very simple summary. So turnover, we've got $4,000. Okay, remember that from the very start. That was the amount of money that we took in from our clients from all the stuff that we do in a month. But we're going to set aside, we had £900 of expenses that month. And I'm going to allocate for all of that in this month, which means 3,100 is gross profit, gross before tax. Your tax liability is 775. That was the 25% allocation percentage. And we need to make sure that's set aside. So again, we don't have a shock later down the line. And then that means net profit 2,325, which we can do with what we want. And that gives me a really nice, clear understanding about my money. And then it's amazing, like as soon as we understand about how we should manage the money and where it all goes, we can actually start to be clear about where we want to take our business. How big do we want it to be? How much money do you want left over at the end of the month? So that you can actually design and plan and live the life that you want to live. And you deserve to live because you work hard, you commit your passion, your soul and your energy to this business, and it needs to provide to you. And it can. So anyway, that's the salary calculator. This is the tool that I think has helped our coaches, like one of the key tools that's helped our coaches transition from just being a personal trainer to being a personal training business owner, right? And that's a big psychological, mental transition to make because it's a different way you look at things, and it's really a level up on the way you manage your money. So I hope it's helpful. If you haven't already, if you want it, just comment the word money below, and we'll send it right across to you. I hope it's good. My name's David. I run a company called Velocity with my best friend, our business partner, Craig. We help trainers scale to 5, 6, 7K consistent months running PT businesses. And if you want to work with us, just give us a nudge, drop us a message, and we'd be happy to have a chat. But for now, that's me, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.